So, fat loss or weight loss, what are the most important things we need to do in terms of your diet and nutrition plan? It's like basically a hierarchy of the most important things that we need to do. So number one is we need to make sure that we've got a calorie deficit. So the amount of energy that you consume for the foods that you eat is less than the amount of energy that you burn off through your metabolism, activity and your training sessions. Yeah, that's the most important thing. Number two then I would say is your macronutrient split. So that's the balance of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. So obviously, I'll give you an example of why it's secondary important is that, you know, say, I don't know, your maintenance calories are 2,000, so you eat 1,800. I'm pretty sure your health's going to be better if you eat 1,800 calories with a balance of carbs, proteins and fats than if you just ate 1,800 calories worth of pure sugar, for example. But still, you have to still create that calorie balance. Imbalance is number one. Yeah. Number three, so we've got calorie imbalance, macronutrients. Then I would actually say food quality is the third most important thing. So there we're looking at, you know, making sure you get enough micronutrients, so vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, you know, fibre quality, stuff like that, because they all help long-term health. Actually help your diet as well, but that's the third most important thing. Okay, so number one, whatever happens is we need that calorie imbalance. Yeah, so calorie imbalance, macronutrients, food quality. Yeah, so obviously I've done myself into a bit of a hole there with some of my clients, because what I will do, depending on the client, is I might say to you, for example, or I might say to a client, we're all worried about calories initially. I'd rather you worry about eating, you know, the right sort of foods or working on food quality. And what I mean by that is if, you know, they come in and they eat, you know, half a ton of pasta a week, you know, loads of bread, loads of cake, ice cream, whatever, very little protein and vegetables. Obviously, the first thing I'm going to say to you is we need to eat more lean protein, more vegetables, lower glycemic carbohydrates, things with, you know, fibre in them. And reality is what I'm doing is, although I'm not giving you a calorie control plan, what I'm actually doing is I'm creating a slight calorie imbalance, because I know those foods, so your proteins, vegetables, low glycemic carbs, obviously tend to be more bulky in your diet, they tend to satiate your appetite a lot more, tend to fill you out more, and obviously they're harder to break down as well, your digestive system. So naturally you actually create your own calorie deficit, because you're going to find it hard. You know, it's harder to eat 2,000 calories of lean protein, vegetables, you know, and low glycemic carbs than it is to eat, like, you know, 2,000 calories of ice cream, for example, just because it's, you know, it fills you up more. So without us getting into the nuts and bolts of calorie count, in fact, I've still created a calorie deficit, and I'll be the first to admit that's what I'm actually trying to do, although I'm not necessarily being upfront with you about it. But that's what we're trying to do in a smarter sort of way, so you're not kind of stressed or you know, you feel too overwhelmed about not knowing where to start with counting calories and stuff. If I can do that and still get the same result, which is to give you a calorie deficit for your fat loss. Yeah. Obviously, with any dietary approach, there are advantages and disadvantages. So, obviously, my job as a coach and your job, if you're trying to lose fat, is you have to kind of weigh up the advantages and disadvantages and then work out what's going to be the best approach for you. And obviously that can change as well. What might be best for you short term might be best for you long term, vice versa. So what I look for, because obviously some clients can just stick to that sort of kind of loose, vague plan, kind of, I guess, eat and clean if you like, pretty much long term, and get great results. However, sometimes with some clients they can kind of stall out or start to go backwards. So, you know, they can swear blind to me that they're following a diet plan, you know, and eating all the right foods and stuff. But the reality is that their old bad habits have actually started to creep in again, because they're not consciously aware that they're doing it. You know, they can't kind of see it in black and white. So, obviously, what's the other approach? Well, the other approach is to go down a calorie counting kind of approach. And that kind of makes you more consciously aware of kind of the checks and balances that need to be done with your food choices. And again, as with anything, there's advantages and disadvantages. So I'll go for the disadvantages first. Obviously, disadvantages, especially when you first start out, is it can kind of seem, I guess, overwhelming because you don't believe that you can do it because you've not done it before. And you're kind of a bit lost to a certain degree as to where to start. The reality is it's actually really easy, especially to make a smart choice for the kind of calorie counting tools that you want to use. My recommendation would be something like MyFitnessPal, which is both online and a phone app. Makes it really easy, like it's just ridiculously easy. As long as it takes you 10-15 minutes to kind of the initial setup with putting the right numbers in and what your goals are and all the rest of it. But once you're up and running, you've used it for a couple of days, like it literally takes you 5-10 minutes a day tops to enter all your foods in and then just kind of track where you're at. And also as you kind of go along, it kind of helps you develop a new skill to become more aware of you know, what's in certain foods and how much of certain foods might just kind of throw you out above your numbers. I guess the other disadvantage, I suppose, a lot of people think that it's going to give you like a negative relationship with your food, in the sense that you're going to become obsessive with calories. In reality, if you want my honest opinion, with 99% of people that doesn't happen. In reality, what actually happens is you've kind of given yourself a very easy way to kind of keep yourself on track. You don't necessarily have to do it all the time. Maybe each time you hit a brick wall, maybe you need to go for a couple of weeks to get yourself back on track again. But it just gives you a very, very easy way to see what changes you need to make and what any bad habits have crept in. So again, you know, those are maybe the only two major disadvantages I can think of. We'll say the advantage is, or the biggest advantage is, I would say long term, provided you don't abuse it, very important, is that it gives you a chance to have a slightly more flexible diet going forward. So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, you know, if we go down the route of not counting calories and I say to you, go eat all this lean protein and you know, vegetables and some healthy fats and the rest of it, that diet really is quite restrictive in terms of the choices that you can make. You'll be very careful when you stray away from those foods. However, if you're on a calorie counting path and you are kind of got accustomed to what numbers you should be hitting and how to hit them, it kind of gives you a little bit of a leeway. For example, say you know you've got a big social event coming up and you know that there's going to be a 4-course meal, say for example, you know it's going to be a massive meal and it's going to be a nice dessert, maybe a couple of a glass of wine or something. You can, within reason, kind of adjust your numbers during the day to give you enough leeway so you can go out and have that social function, say, and still be hitting your numbers and not scrap your results, provided you don't abuse it. Obviously it does leave it up into certain abuse, and I know I've heard of some people that would starve themselves during the day so they can go out and have like 10 or 15 pints of lager in the evening. Obviously it's not really designed for that, and that's obviously not really good for your health or your results. But it does give you that little kind of 15-10% leeway that you can self-manage and still get great results, not be worried about, oh, I've ruined it, may as well give up. So that's kind of your two main approaches, and the trick is to work out long term for you what's going to be best that you can stick to. And I've got clients that do one or the other, sometimes a mixture of both depending on what their current goal is. But certainly do not be put off by going down the calorie counting route. Like I say, if you use the right sort of tool, it's actually really easy. And kind of the truth of the matter is that if you're not getting the right result, your results are stalled out, or your results are going backwards slightly, you know you've broken the most important rule with getting that calorie deficit. You've busted it up, and that's why you're not getting the result you want. So you have to be honest and objective about it, and use something like that to get you back on track, so you will get a result. Because at the end of the day, if you do the most important things, and do the most important things well, you'll get your result. Easy as that. If you're not doing those things, you're not going to get your result. And again, it's as simple as that, unfortunately. So that's why, kind of, if you've got the right mental attitude about it, you can kind of make it easy on yourself or make it really hard. But I say, definitely don't be put off by it. At least, before you kind of think you can't do it, maybe try it for a week, and you'll find it really easy to do. But that's what I recommend if your results are kind of stalled out or gone backwards slightly. that's what I would do first of all, because we have to see, regardless of what the solution is. Maybe for some people they're actually really under eating, and we need to increase the calories. Regardless of what the actual final solution is, you need to at least go through some phase of recording what you're eating, so we can see exactly what's actually going on, and therefore we know exactly what changes to make the eat back on track.